I'm going to say bye to Mendrix one last time, who will join us at the end. Team Noxide taking on Lynx, who've shaken up their roster to an all-new level. Christmas trees, we are looking at for you to perform. You played in the OPL. You should know what is asked of you today.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the way that he can impact the map, I would like to see more the utility because it means that he doesn't have to worry too much about it. I would really be disappointed if he picks up the lethality. First of all, because lethality 714, unfortunately, when you go into a tank line, doesn't do too much. Second of all, it doesn't really work out too well for them in the context of what they need from him to do.
And remember that Lynx will lose all 5 bans, which means Team Noxide decide the pace. They are on red side. They do decide what the first pick will kind of be, but Lynx have a play on it as well.
I'm just a little bit disappointed that the current way that Noxide is leaning towards is more of the meta bans as opposed to the targeted bans going over at Lynx. Yeah, sure, you don't know what Nana's going to play and you don't know what Chris is going to play, but you know the other 3, especially the Echo coming out from a Midle. If that doesn't get banned away, then I would really fear for Team Noxide. It means that they would rather ban away the extremely OPs rather than the targets. And at this point in the game, when you're on red side, you can just get so much out of the first rotation. You give 1 OP over, you pick up 2 for yourself.
That's exactly right. And so they're going to get rid of the meta bans again. It is going to be the Maokai with rising success. Wouldn't be too surprised if Cho'Gath was the last ban. And Amidal has picked up the Echo, but more of a response to, okay, is Relix going to pick up the Syndra? We know how good that counter pick can be. It is going to be the final ban coming through from Team Noxide in a second as well. See if they do put priority on this Echo or if they run in the right direction. Maybe just lock down a meta pick.
Yeah, so more macro-oriented for the rest of these teams. What you're looking for is a whole lot of CC. I mean, when you've got a new composition, when you're not quite sure how to play, you don't try to execute a 1-3-1. That's going to fall flat. You don't try to execute a 1-4 because that might also fall flat depending on how Sora goes. He plays more of these carry champions who, you know, snowballs in one way or the other, like, for instance, a Riven that we did see before. And when you take a look at the whole context of these two teams, yeah, you need somebody who's very reliable. 5-man Death Bowl, it's a good way to go. I mean, it won't get you to the top, but it will get you solid wins.
But Christmas Trees gets his champion straight up and is going to be the Xayah locked in. Thank God he's playing something meta. That's nice.
Yep.
Good start, I guess.
It's a hyper carry. It means that you get to the late game and you can mess about a little in the early game. Yep. So long as you manage to actually make it, you will still have the 5v5 capabilities. That's really all we're looking to go out for here. I mean, like, sure, he has the ability to pick it up, as of course the Lover is picked over on the other side to deny it away from Lynx. But yeah, it's just to make sure that they can't actually go for it.
And Bose is going to get his Sejuani. Is going to be the Rakan as well. Well, don't look at me like that.
Sejuani.
Sejuani. It's authentic. Unfortunately, no Lover bottom lane this time. No Quarrel. What a shame. But Team Noxide do get some really interesting picks. And there's an Engage there. And there's a composition that starts up with a full-on Engage.
Yeah, and more importantly than that, something that can happen for Lynx right now is the Thresh. I mean, we've seen amazing success come out from Thresh Xayah. Another huge pickup can be, of course, Tahm Kench. If either of those don't go through right now, they choose to give priority to anybody else. And then they go later on into the second ban phase, it could be proved deadly, but yeah, they just pick up the Thresh to make sure it doesn't get banned.
Thresh locked in and the Gragas as well. Gragas having a big pick rate tonight. I like the Sejuani pick, however, and I liked how Dan Dane played it last game. I mean, the majority of last game, of course. I mean, was it his fault?
It worked all the way until it didn't.
Until it didn't. Very nice. Sombre is going to be hovering over that Kalista and going against the Xayah. That has been a pick of choice.
Yep. It's the old lovers reunited on different sides. I mean, it used to be Kalista Thresh, it used to be Xayah Rakan. Unfortunately, they've swapped sides, but it actually works better for both of them. Because in this instance, of course, you got the protection from Thresh for the Xayah, and you've also got the yo-yo composition for Kalista with the Rakan, throwing him in, pulling him 100%. Back, getting him out of safety as well. So both of these, I think they're actually quite mutually happy with this trade.
Interesting ban, though, that they'd get rid of the Syndra when we've known Relics in the past to play it, and Amidal to be a lot more versatile. I mean, Amidal has played the Orianna too, and that would fit nicely into this composition for Lynx.
I mean, this is more of a trust fall exercise for Relics because neither of these mid laners have been picked on either side, so they're saying, you know what, sure, we're going to ban away one of your champions, but it could also be one of Amidal's, and we actually trust you to have a deeper champion pool than him, so all in all, we're going to put him on the back foot, and hopefully you can come out on top, despite the fact that there's shared mutual bans.
But I think Amidal, you know, would be feeling more comfortable here. And Relics is someone who yeah, we haven't seen enough of. We saw the low KDA. We saw a high kill participation, however. But it is a team Noxide that hasn't been as comfortable this split and hasn't been a team that has kept themselves safe. They are in a deficit right now. Oriana's the final ban, so they are focusing mid.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily a symbol of the fact that they're not getting a lot of kills or not getting a lot of assists down onto Relics. The one downside to getting that low KDA is he might be dying way too much. And that may actually not be completely his fault, because a lot of these jungler mid lane matchups that he has gone against in the past have been very renowned. I mean, we're taking a look at pretty much everybody on the board when we're taking a look at the OCS. This has been a star-studded roster as far as mid-jungle synergy goes. So yeah, it's not completely on his fault, but if he manages to actually survive this way, because Nana is new and there's not a whole lot of synergy between him and Amidal at the current moment, he could improve that KDA this game.
And Relic's going to pick up the... Oh, hang on, no. Could be a Talia support.
I doubt it. I think that's a Zyda special.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you move into support as a mid lane, you like to keep your champion pool the same. Not the same story for Reload. He's been support all his life.
And look at this, Christmas trees. Cassiopeia, that's going to be a Xayah mid. No, of course, it's going to be a Vital picking up the Christmas trees special. And the Jace is going to be hovered as well, lethality user. But the Fiora was something else that was left over, surprisingly enough. And if Sora feels comfortable going on carries, which we know he does, I expect him to pick this one up.
But Fiora is really risky going into this because there's no top lane on Team Noxide. You usually pick it as a counter matchup to make sure that tanks just get busted. Jace right now is a really huge one in OS, and I just want to touch on that. Oceania, both the OPL and OCS, has put a very high amount of trust on lethality. Jace goes lethality, does extremely well. It's been almost pick and ban in OPL, you know, 100%. So, yeah, this is something that's very strong. And over on the other side, who do we forget to ban? Who do we decide to pick?
It was left open and Lynx just went through it. The Cho'Gath, if Cho'Gath gets locked in, I was going to say it would have to go on the top lane. Maybe they pick something a little bit more realistic.
I mean, they could also send Sejuani into the top lane. Swiper has been Swiper has been a huge advocate of Sejuani in the top lane.
That was more like 7.11.
Yeah, it was.
It was a different time, a different meta. Jopan instead picks up his
Back when I was young.
Yeah, back in the good old days. Jace up in the top lane versus Nah. Yeah, look, lethality early. Who builds quicker? It's going to be Sora. It's going to be an interesting top lane.
Jopan doesn't go lethality. Jopan's just going to go Black Cleaver straight in the tank.
That's why I'm saying it's sarcasm.
Yeah, I know.
Absolute sarcasm.
And that might actually be a really bad matchup for Jopan, because the natural counter to lethality is just to stack armor over to the point where you get bigger numbers than they get lethality, to the point where they can't really penetrate it and you're at a net advantage. But Jopan's not going to do that. The classic Nah build is a Black Cleaver into potentially a Frozen Mallet, two items with no armor on them. You can even get a Ninja Tabi, which only gives you about, you know, not that much in comparison to all of that. So, yeah, Sora, one of the rare times that he actually gets a really good matchup for a Jace in the top lane.
The rarity is going to continue on forward as we do go into our last game of the day. Lynx will be taking on Team Noxide. And these are our two of our lower teams, but a win here for Team Noxide would be crucial, and a loss for Lynx could be very, very deadly. They've insinuated 3 new people into their rosters. Let's see if that affects them, as Christmas trees, unfortunately, will not be Cassiopeia 80 carry.
Yeah, I know. That was a little bit heartbreaking to see. I mean, personally, I would have liked to see Amidal actually trade roles with Christmas trees last second and just go Xayah anyway into ADC. But alas, we get the Amidal, and maybe they're actually trading knowledge with each other. I mean, Christmas trees had ample time to teach Amidal all of these skills. Corrupting Potion start from Cassiopeia is going to go for the level 1 between the minions' cheese.
I reckon Christmas trees is like sitting in comms, just being like, all right, Amidal, you need to do this. You need to do this.
Step 1, Teemo forward. Press E twice. Step 3, Teemos backwards. That's exactly what he's saying.
3 Teemos.
It's the best unit of measurement.
No, it is not.
How else do you do it?
Well, I think about Teemo. It's like, well, how...
You see, everybody uses units as like a precise measurement, but here's the question. If I told you, move 1,000 units, how accurately do you think you could do that? As opposed to if I said, move 3 Teemos.
What about steps? What about steps? Steps sound good.
Every single champion is a different step length.
True, Teemos. Yeah. Okay, so 3 Teemos.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Amidal playing the Cassiopeia. Let's see if he does Christmas trees. Proud. This early game looked like it will be the Raptors' start for Team Noxide, and Bose, someone who we have been seeing some mistakes in the early game when he's been playing the Kha'Zix, when he's been going into the enemy jungle, when it's not warded, or when the lanes aren't pushed up. It's something that we've noticed has been a bit of an issue.
Yeah, it might be a little bit of one, but at the current moment, if Bose could just play really safe, I mean, he's a Sejuani. All he needs to do is race until 6 against a Gragas, play the smart game as opposed to the hard game. he might be able to win this matchup.
Bottom lane, the Lovers' Quarrel has come this bad that it's going to be Rakan and Kalista. Team Noxide haven't run this bottom lane before. Sombre, usually known for his Jhin, and Relopol has, Relopal, I've been trying. Brom, right?
Yes.
So this is a very different style, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they can adapt to this 7.14 meta and how they run this Kalista Rakan.
And it's fine as soon as they get out of lane, but at the current moment when they are in lane, unfortunately Rakan doesn't do the best in this 2v2 because Thresh's range, his auto attacks get amplified by his Flay every single time he autos. The Q is always deadly, and Rakan doesn't actually offer too much in terms of the straight 2v2. So all of this is extremely dangerous once again for the bot side of Team Noxide in the early game.
Immortal taking heavy trades early, and Relics just pushing him out. The corrupting start, it did not work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Ah, the cheese.
Not too sure what he was doing there. I mean, you could pretty much do that into any champion, and given Talia has a very strong level 3 to the point where you could just 100-0 somebody with your Ignite up as well.
Yeah.
But level 1 always goes to Cassiopeia. Almost always.
Seismic Shove misses again. It's going to be just the farming up the potential for the Cassiopeia to snowball. Relics. My man, using your worked ground very nicely.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. I mean, he's doing a very good job in the mid so far, but here comes Nana.
First gank, Nana coming through, grounded down the flash forward, body slam, easy first blood by a Midal.
Yeah, and Nana just comes in from a very unconventional path because he starts on the bottom side, goes top, comes back bot again, and then ganks the mid lane, makes sure that Relics gets put down before he can use his level 3 advantage. Ignite is still up. Flash is down for Relic, so all in all, this is the advantage of bringing a new jungler in when you don't have time to scout out how he plays.
And now Lynx are just going in on the jungle, almost missed smiting.
I held my breath.
Yeah, simply had to auto-attack, but used it a little bit too early. Chris and Sleepy walking in very ambitiously. Team Noxide taking the early game pressure.
Yeah, and they definitely have the pressure. I mean, we were talking about which one wins. Now, very definitively, Cassiopeia wins with that additional gold that the First Blood gives, as well as the CS advantage. But down onto the bottom side, Christmas Trees, if he can push this lead, which we don't really know him to do as a mid lane player now in ADC, then he can also provide another point of pressure for his team.
Immortal trading well. You can see that Nana was sitting on the side, but the brush was warded, and Bose replaces his position. The wave's going to crash. A bit of a trade out will mean that Relics, with the help of his jungler, can finally push forward. Now, Jopan is someone who, in the OCS so far, been looking to see a lot more from.
Okay, that was smart. It stopped the back.
I mean, I guess.
It extends the range when you do it backwards as opposed to forwards.
I get that. I get that, and I guess he didn't see the boomerang coming, so... Interestingly enough,
now, here's actually a smart interaction between the Jace and the Knight. It's not so much when they're laning against each other, it's when these bot lanes decide to lane swap and take it against each other. I have a sneaky suspicion that Lynx will try to initiate that first, not because they have a bad bot lane, but because they want to press down Jopan. Jopan has small windows in which you can do this as Nana comes over.
Hello, Sora's just found Bosun. On jumps Jopan, he's frozen up, and Team Noxide will get their first kill with Jopan going mega.
All right, so... the lane that actually favors Sora doesn't go towards him.
A Midal getting very low, as does Relics. Could have walked back in that with the cleanse being used. Relics will just heal this one back up, and a Midal to do the same.
Yeah, so not too much going over. Now that both of these summoners are down for Relics, he doesn't have too much of a kill pressure. Of course, he can still get the seismic shove. Here comes Bose.
Bose has found a Midal. There we go. Gets the poison, has to flash away. Flash forward by Bose. Not sure what he's doing. Body slam hits with the tip of his toenail. And Nana will capitalize on Bose.
Yeah, that looked a little bit too weird. You should have just taken the flash and got out of there, but he went way too greedy. The flash could have actually got him out to safety. But let's go back to the point that I wanted to bring up about Sora. If you do the lane swap and if Chris and Sleepy go up onto the top side, what it means is that Jopan has very limited window in order to clear the wave against this ranged duo. Whereas on the other side, you're instigating a Jace against a Kalista Rakan. First and foremost, Kalista doesn't have great early game. Second of all, Rakan doesn't have that much pressure until he gets to level 6. And third of all, Jace has so much range wave clear that the lane advantage would almost certainly go over to Lynx. So if they instigate it very early on, then it could definitely favor them.
Jopan doing fine in this lane, trading back and forth. Has Ninja Tabai first, but that first kill definitely had something to do with it. as Nano's in the top side, but can't gank a lane that's so pushed out. Lynx starting with an early gold lead. Those 2 kills to help. And mid lane does take that death. With both mistakes like that, he cannot afford to make. Sora, Jopan about to go into Mega. Bumps him back. Very good bump by Sora. Will keep him alive.
Yeah, that was beautiful to watch there. Just disengaging Jopan, because if Jopan hit that, he would have used his ultimate, and that would have more or less been nearly a dead Sora to a dead Sora, depending on how the numbers went. But all in all, this is what we were talking about. Unfortunately, the wave does go over to Jopan simply because of the fact that the early gank gave him a kill. This is more or less a perfect time for him to swap.
Nice. Okay. Reloadable still picks it up. Noxide's bottom lane looking okay for CS right now. Xayah going back, and Christmas Trees has just picked up the BF sword. Serrated Dirk up in the top lane. Close to first items, but that 1-0-1 Nana, he's already got his Cinderhawk.
Yep.
That was a quick Cinderhawk.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge boon going over to him as opposed to Bose. I mean, admittedly, Bose does have the Barmy Cinder, but the Cinderhawk does allow him to clear more. It also just gives you so much more HP because of the passive, to the point where if you try to straight 1v1, Nana's almost certainly going to win every single time. I mean, his ultimate also hits multiple people. Bose's one doesn't, except for the after effect.
Yep.
So yeah, it just goes over towards Nana in every single conceivable way in the early part.
Slow start to the game, but 8 minutes in. I mean, 3 kills, you'd normally say it wasn't slow. These teams really just fighting to stay alive in the OCS. And Lynx running this new roster, we're thinking it might have been a worry. Nana in the jungle, someone who I think has been playing mid. I'm not sure.
Used to be on Regicide.
Used to be on Regicide, that's what we know.
A lot of Lynx
Didn't
members
play.
actually used to be on Regicide, believe it or not.
But not Chris.
No, not Chris.
Not Chris.
Has Chris? No.
No, I don't think so. Seismic Shove going to miss
Oh,
mid.
no.
Bose waiting in the wing. Going to jump through. The ultimate doesn't land. Yeah, look, Bose, not the greatest start.
Yeah, they should have actually started that with Relic's ultimate cutting off the escape from Amidal. That way, more or less, the Sejuani ultimate would have been guaranteed, but coulda, shoulda, woulda, didn't.
Only 600 gold separates. Team Noxide have been able to close that gap with a bit of CS, and Jopan's caught up in the top lane. Bottom lane is neck and neck, and Bose finally doing some counter jungling as he approaches in, but only camp that is up are the Wolves. Top lane is being pushed in. Maybe Bose transitions that to a gank in the top lane.
Yeah, I'm not too certain why this is just simply allowed to happen. I mean, Nana is camping down the bottom side, but there's a lot of knowledge coming out from the bot lane of Noxide to completely defuse this situation. And while this whole thing goes on, they've pinged Bose to say, okay, there's a Gragas down into our lane, so you can steal everything from his top side of his jungle. You can even go for a return gank onto the top side against Sora, and that could work as well. And he's just being punished so hard. Here's the Sejuani top lane.
Sora has to use the gate as he goes on in. Jopan against the wall. 3-man gank. Relics comes up. Nicely executed by Team Noxide.
Yeah, it's just perfect turret-taking mechanics. I mean, you're tanking it to within an inch of your life, trade it over to Jopan, he takes the baton, and this is what happens when you get a team who, rather than just, you know, they try to give you the baton in order to get the race sorted for yourself.
All right, Team Noxide, you don't need to tank, Bose. You don't need to tank. They'll start pushing this turret down. Looking for the opportunity of first turret blood. But Lynx might be getting that mid.
Yeah, this is a little bit risky as well because Sora will just barely get his TP in about a second or two. Doesn't quite have it up yet, so they can race it.
But who gets first turret blood? Nana is still hitting the turret, but no, it's Noxide who secure it. Only by about 3 seconds. Will be traded back and forth, but Team Noxide get the advantage.
But realistically, when you take a look at how much of the map opens from the mid lane, you have to say that sort of went over to Lynx. Gold didn't, but the advantage that they get in unlocking the Cassiope to go to other parts of the map, like for instance bottom lane, is huge.
Here we go, Nana coming through. Both teleports have been channeled in. The ultimate there. Quickness has been used. Their petrifying gaze doesn't really lock down anyone, but 5 members, it's a massive knock-up as Sombre already picks up one. Team Noxide should not be allowed to do this. Sora's been flashed on and exhausted underneath the turret. Ultimate Christmas trees cleans the house, and that's Lynx with a great team fight now. Sombre only just manages to get away, but Christmas trees recovers it.
So while all of that happens, the ADC just says, it's like Christmas. Lines up his ultimate perfectly, pulls back his E, gets the kill.
Like trees as well, Preacher. That turret's going to go down and lopped away with an axe. 1,500 gold in the advantage of Lynx Esports. An experience from the OPL player known as Christmas Trees. definitely invaluable.
Yeah, it didn't go too well in their favor at the start. Sombre managed to pick up a kill on Sleepy before he even did anything under that. And also Saurus to the skies was flashed away by Jopan, but still outplayed by Lynx just simply by numbers. When you shove so many people down onto the faces of Team Noxide, they're going to die sometime.
Relix continues to push mid. Really doesn't want something like that to go on again. And Immortal does get assist, so he's ahead now. See, Rift Herald is actually going to try and be picked up by Noxide. Contention? I don't think so.
No, I mean, Sleepy's up here, but that's pretty much it. Nana's down onto the bottom side of the map. So yeah, they just managed to pick this one up relatively free. There's not even a dragon being traded over to the side of Lynx. That's
great
deadly.
seismic shove. Immortal gets pushed into Relix. Uses the asthma to slow it down and flashed on again. Immortal cleanses away from the ignite. Not even the miasma to stop him. Immortal with the flash. All that is remaining.
So can I just point out the amazing
can.
angle that Relix did onto Immortal? That was over 6 rocks, and now they just get mid-turret.
Here we go, Rift Herald.
We're going in!
Oh! Getting closer and closer. Explosive cast trying to disengage Jopan, but that turret goes down to Team Noxide. Rotating objective for objective here. They'll back off. Jopan going over the wall has used the ultimate. Team Noxide may have found Sora.
Yeah, I mean, Sora's just in the wrong place, gets caught up.
Great positioning forward. Wasn't a flash, it's just a knock-up. Sora is going to get rendered to death, and Sombre with his second kill, and it'll be Ocean Drake as well.
So far, this is just turning up Team Noxide. They're getting everything on the map, and Sora, he is the person that could potentially be to blame, but they want to fight this, and Lynx, they're setting it up.
Let's fight again. Death Sentence will land. A Sleepy going. No, he doesn't. There's a Miasma again. Seismic shot back. Great. Forces the flash.
Jopan.
Mega Gnar coming forward. One more auto attack. All that necessary. Again, Christmas Trees gets a massive wombo and damages Team Noxide. The follow through from Immortal. This has turned it again. Christmas Trees notorious for turning these fights. And now they're going to force the flash from Bose. He's running for his life. Sleepy does not have one for himself. He has mobility boots. Where is the Death Sentence? Uses the flay. I don't know why. Death Sentence will not land, but Lynx will turn it around.
And this is what you get when you draft disengaged kiteback compositions for Christmas trees. We've known this guy to be somebody who outplays you through very smart baiting into really tight corridors with the Cassiopeia before. Now you get a Cassiopeia onto his team and also put him onto Xayah. That just works out so far for him. So what happens is everybody on Noxide chases them backwards inside their own jungle, but unfortunately the side of Team Noxide actually running out of mana, and pretty much the only person who's going even more forward is Jopan, because he just gets his Mega Gnar. But because they're kiting backwards, Feathers laid left, right, center, Immortal slowing everybody with Miasma, pulls it back with the Feather Collar, and Christmas Trees just turns that fight around.
Yeah, I tell you what, like, the Blade Calls have been on point, the Feather Storms have been beautiful, and Christmas Trees showing his OPL experience. I said it at the start. This guy, I mean, the OCS for him, he's come through it many times before. He's shown how good he is. He's been on the 80 carry
OCS
position.
King.
Yeah, he's been in the mid lane as well. That's pretty much it, but he's versatile. And Team Noxide, it looks like when they want to push, when they really want to push that objective, Lynx are just sending it right on back. Is that going to reset? No.
Nope, I don't think so.
It was close.
It was. I actually had one of these games in which the blue reset 3 times on me, and I got really frustrated, and then I never played mid again. And that's the story of my solo queue.
Was that a Morgana mid?
No, I was actually testing out Corki. I wanted to really learn Corki because I think that he's extremely strong in this patch, but it doesn't work into every team composition because it's a very greedy champion.
Team Noxide rotate down bottom lane. It's going to be yet another turret getting picked up. It's going to be yet another easy turret getting picked up, but Lynx have a lot to work with as this inner turret is down, and they're going to push for more.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a very gentlemanly trade, but it doesn't look like Lynx is going to back off because they know that they have the mid game. They're pushing both top and mid. This is working out so well for them. Take a look. Sora's turret-taking capabilities as a Jace. Press your hypercharge. That's 3 orders, 2.5 attack speed. Never leave Jace alone with the turret.
But mid is down. I mean, you may get the outer down in the bottom lane, but Lynx, look at this. They get mid, and they get the top turret as well.
It's not even worth it at this point.
Inhibitors bare and open. This is just Lynx just showing experience.
And that was the smartest possible allocation that they could have done for the side of Lynx, because if they moved 4 people into the mid lane, that wouldn't have worked out for them, because you would have got the turret and then you would have had to back out anyway, because the side of Noxide were going to that lane. So what do? 2 people into the top side, Chris and also Sleepy for comfort. All of a sudden, you get 2 turrets.
Just better plays by Lynx. At the 17-minute mark there, 2,500 gold ahead. 0-3 on this Jace top. Has gone for the Youmu's first.
When you're behind?
No, I would have just... If you're going to do a lethality item, just do Duskblade.
Yeah, it builds
So
out of
OP.
identically the same build path as well. It's like, yo, bro, can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it a bit so it doesn't look the same.
There's a burst of damage, so imagine Jace, okay, he does Shock Blast combo.
Yep.
Goes into Hammer form, goes into a brush, he's unseen for that 1 second.
Yep.
And he comes out with his first auto attack.
First
That's like
auto attack
$1
from
billion damage.
Duskblade, also first auto attack from his stance change.
Stupid damage! It's a Duskblade, man!
They're going to go for it. They want the extra movement speed, which hasn't proved too useful going into Jopan.
But
Because
it's a nah!
I know, every single time you use your To the Skies against Jopan, what happens? He just flashes out of it, because Jace's Q is targeted towards the ground of your target, as opposed to locks onto your target. So yeah, you can just avoid all of the damage from the hammer form.
We look at the map right now, and you can see that Lynx are pretty much controlling the bottom portion of it. They're rotating quicker, and Team Noxide are unaware. Now the bottom lane's in trouble. They finally rotate down to the turret. Shock Blast to zone out. Relics is there with the Weaver's Wall.
Here we
Looking
go.
for the engage. The knock-up. Christmas Trees uses the Feather Storm again. The Blade Caller. 3-man stun again. Nara gets the wall. Great ult by Jopan. Isn't enough for Team Noxide. It doesn't look like it is. Oh my god. The Blade Caller is nuts. Amato picks up yet another kill. And something has to be done about this combination of mid and bot.
So that was really heartbreaking to see from Reloadpool. He pops his ultimate, jumps into the middle of the enemy team, and the Sombre actually pulls him back while he's mid-ultimate, wastes about half of the time of the grand entrance,
Yeah.
and that fight just turned on his head against Noxide from that point onwards.
And this has just been not clean, but it has just been Lynx every single time getting the better objective. Bottom lane is now open. They will leave the inhibitor. Dragon is about to spawn in 35 seconds, and they're definitely in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, 7 turrets to 3. This is almost a stomping so far in this game, and 5k gold doesn't really paint a good picture of how far ahead Lynx are. They've got so much map pressure. The only downside to this is the fact that they're not actually placing forward wards to match that. You got one in the mid lane, that's pretty much it. Great, you know where Sombre is going to go. He can spot you out with his W as well. Dragon's the next objective.
Reloadable to help set up vision for Bose. And Team Noxide already having picked up that Ocean Drake. No, the Mountain Drake is 5 seconds away, and they're positioning for it, but Lynx are coming as a strong 5-man unit, and with 5,000 gold up, you do not want to contest them. Look at their inventory. Every single person on Lynx has a control ward.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's more or less synergy at its finest. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd take this over Mona Lisa any day.
I mean, Mona Lisa costs more. This is only 75 gold.
I know, and it does so much more. I mean, sure, there's a theory that Mona Lisa's eyes follow you everywhere, but these control wards, they see everything.
They see everything, and they spot other wards. What can the Mona Lisa do?
And they disable other wards as well.
Have you seen a real-life ward? It's called like a spy cam. Can she find that? No.
I doubt it. I mean, there might be many in the Louvre, but
Worthless.
can't do anything.
Can't do a single thing. It's like using 10 revives on a level 5 Zigzagoon.
I think it's full restores.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the most expensive
that's even
thing.
worse.
Yeah.
Revive on a level 5 Zigzagoon's even worse. Lynx are controlling this map. The Mountain Drake's going to be next on their list. They pick it up. Without further ado, and Baron is coming up live as well.
Yeah, so without further ado,
Thank you,
Team
Jimmy.
Noxide is trying to clear out these walls, but Bose is in a
Oh,
precarious
nice
situation.
play from Bose. Forces a flash. He's mid-Arctic assault. I might a little bit late to the party with my asthma, but Lynx are going to drive it up mid. This is an open inhib.
Yeah, this is really dangerous because Lynx actually got that dragon pretty much without any congestion. By Noxide, nothing happened over at the Baron buff. Now they're just going straight down mid.
Coming in your base. Wait. Noxide, I'm just going to come into your base, relax for a second. Reloadable looking for the engage. Nana's there. Shock Blast hits. Explosive cast.
Just to disengage.
Yeah, look, I mean, was it worth, though? Because Nana's going to get knocked up, knocked back. Airborne. Dark Passage
Turret.
there. He's stunned up. One more hit, and Sombre will pick up the killing spree.
but if they don't get a Baron off of it, it's net worth for Lynx. But the fight continues.
Jopan is grounded, but he's going into Meganar, locked back in. Great engage coming through. Real Opal has to get out of there. Team Noxide are a 5-man unit, but they are incredibly low. And Team Noxide, look at this. Christmas trees on the side. Is going nuts.
Yeah, and despite the fact that nobody died on Noxide, one thing that you have to touch on there is the fact that Relic's ultimate actually works for both of these two teams. It locks off Lynx, but it also locks off Noxide, and that was the perfect angle for Christmas Tree's ultimate.
What are you doing? He has to go back. He survives for now. The death sentence a little bit short. Christmas Tree is walking over Team Noxide. All the resources are going to him. Like, sure, Amidal takes a bit, but Christmas Trees, he just takes everything. And now they're going to start Baron.
Yeah, I mean, they get all of the pressure over to do it.
Sure.
If you don't hit the ward, they don't see you doing it.
I think he hit the ward as he started. So, rookie error. Christmas Tree's tanking.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Nana's there, but he's doing so much damage.
Teleport comes in from Jopan.
The ward there, 2,000 health. Can we get the steal coming through? Jopan a little bit too late. He's in Mega Gnar, and he has the Gnar. But Lynx, it's a free Baron.
Yeah, they're just going to disengage from this situation, and they're going to do exactly what they did before, except down onto the bottom side. Who needs the back door when the front door is knocked down? Knock, knock, everybody, I'm coming in.
Who is it?
It's Team Lynx.
Oh. Bottom lane is next. It's an open inhibitor. And this game has just been... I don't know, it's been a rendition of Lynx outplaying Team Noxide.
And you got to say that when all of these outplays happen, a portion of it happened to be from Boast, because he made some really good ganks in the early game, but he also made a lot of blunders, especially the one that you take a look at in the mid lane. After his successful gank over on the top side, you got to question, why is he going for these such aggressive plays?
But I mean, it's the inexperienced members of Team Noxide. Jopan, Boast, and Relics all coming up from open ladder. I'm not sure about Relics, but I haven't had too much experience with him before. We look at Sombre and Realpol, they're the structure of Team Noxide. They're 3-0, 0-2 and 3. They've actually been the really good side of Team Noxide. It's unfortunate, you know, the team is not mending together because a big side of them is inexperienced and coming up from the open ladder where you were versing considerably easy opponents. You're going up against Christmas Trees, who is an ex-OPL mid laner and a very goddamn good AD carry.
Yeah, and your team is just chasing him as he wants to disengage as a Xayah, somebody with all of these feathers laid down onto the ground as he moves backwards. Not a great idea, but you got the team composition, you're playing to your strengths. Unfortunately, it's to your enemy's even stronger strengths.
And those strengths are hard to exploit if you're going against such experienced players. You know, we haven't seen much from Nana or Sora, but Amidal has proven himself. Christmas Trees as well.
Here we go.
Sora might be caught out. Go, just hit the turret.
Hit the turret.
Hit the turret.
Sora.
Sora, what the? Maybe the minions will kill it. I don't know. Sora is being stunned up. Dark Passage will save his life. One more auto attack. But Christmas Trees is popping off in the base. He's alive as well. The ultimate Real Opal is the next remnant. The Blade Caller won't find anyone. He heals up. He's going to take a charm. But Christmas Trees lives. A double kill. How do you kill this Xayah?
And can you just take a moment to appreciate the positioning on Christmas Trees in that last fight? Dodges all the way to the right, lives. And yeah, this is just formalities at this point. I mean, take a look.
Turret went down in top lane, by the way.
Yeah, Nana.
Sora didn't get it, but we got, okay. Nana going to slow it down.
Yeah.
I think this could just be game.
Yep.
Sombre, he's got 8 seconds to work with. The Christmas Trees is 6-0-2. And we talked him up. Sleepy, yes, you've had a good performance as well. But Chris has been going off. He's now going to try and 1v3. Gets out. Dark Passage to save the day.
Oh, that's the fight.
Chris is still alive. He's still alive, but goes down. Shut down finally. Here comes Sora. He's going to take the remnants of Real Opal.
Yeah, he's going to take it up.
Oh! Double kill. And what a game to finish us off. I mean... Unfortunately, Team Noxide are not looking good, but Lynx had a ball.
Yeah, and it almost looked like Lynx was just waiting for Team Noxide to outplay themselves, and that's what they did. You don't need to try and go for these over-aggressive plays when your enemies do it for you.
Mendrix, how do you explain that game?
That is the biggest contrast of playstyles I have ever seen. It's like Team Engage versus Team Kite. These guys wanted to go straight in there, and played perfectly into Lynx's team composition. They're more than happy for
Exactly
those
right.
engagements to happen, and it seemed to be just off the back of Christmas trees. We were joking about him. Can he play ADC? I think that guy can play ADC.
The dude can play ADC. Welcome back, Christmas trees, to the OCS. Lucky to have you, because that AD carry, that was flawless, and he played Xayah like a true pro.
Yeah, I mean, it just works so well. I think a bit of it had to fall down onto drafting. The fact that, like Mendrick said, you have to go forward as the team of Noxide and Lynx. They just kite it back. I want to really highlight, especially in the second last team fight that happened, the wall that came out from Talia actually hindered her own team more than it hindered the enemy team, because the angle that it made with the wall was perfect for Christmas Tree's ultimate. Just pulled it back and rooted so many people.
And there was just so much going on in that game. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Lynx played it well. Team Noxide, unfortunately, outplaying themselves to a degree. Guys, I want to bring up the leaderboard because this is really important, and we need to highlight that next week is the last week of regular play. Outlaws are 5-1, but we've finally got some definition. This is the big thing, though. You can see 4-2, so Sin Academy will need to pick up the next win, as well as Abyss Academy, sorry. 2 academies makes it really hard, but I think Outlaws can be safe, or at least safe in that playoffs position, sorry. Athletico Esports and Legacy Genesis, as well as Lynx, are all in a neck and neck, right? Is that what you call it?
Yep.
Are all in a neck and neck?
Yep.
The neck to neck.
A triangle. They're in a love triangle. It's a bit ruthless. Team Noxide and Corvidae, unfortunately, have yet to pick up wins, and we're going to have to confirm next week where they stand and how they will be safe, but it's not looking good for them at the moment. We want to know these top 4 teams, and to get into playoffs, to get into the promotion tournament, we're looking at our top 2 teams. But after these standings here, guys, I mean, it has just become a closer week.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at the fact that Outlaws has really got themselves ahead, and we were saying this week is the real moment to define and sculpt the standings of the OCS.
They almost didn't, but then it was like, let's switch on.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, it just didn't quite work. So next week will really have to be the deciding factor. Outlaws can sit high and mighty on their throne, play kingmakers with whoever they're up against, and on the other side, everybody else is vying to get up there.
Exactly.
Who do you play Kingmaker against, though? I mean, you saw it. All these teams just seem to have the ability to just move up that little bit of a notch on the level that they need to be at to play at the right moment in time. So you kind of sit there as Outlaws going, do I really want certain teams to go through here, or will some wild card just completely knock me off? I have to be careful with who I pick.
Everyone is uncertain in that top 4 position, which is why you cannot miss next week. Thank you so much to Timmy Preacherfu and Nathan Mendrix-Mendez. Next week is the last week of regular play for the OCS. It is your last chance to see who will make top 4. Do not miss a thing. We'll see you next Friday, 6 p.m. live in the Heart of Showdown studios. Until then, thank you so much to our production team. We'll see you next week.